the event, so to say. I was like, yeah, that sounds like fun. But mind you, I never ever did anything like that before. On which I got response, you're gonna be great. You know, that's how we roll. Also, I've been a judge at Dutch Splash Awards. And as I mentioned, no, I didn't mention that. I've been also a Drupal Association board member. Which leads me to the next point. And what are lessons learned to me so far? First is, with Drupal, everything is possible. So you can start as attendee, you can start then as a speaker, you can get involved in the local events, and there is no limit to what you can achieve. If you are devoted to this cause, if you're devoted to this community, there is so many brilliant opportunities that you can get yourself involved in. It doesn't matter if you write code or if you don't, like myself. I think like hello world is pretty my limit when it comes to code, right? And the other lesson that I learned over these years is once you get in, you don't get out. No, it doesn't let you go because you're falling in love with this community. There is a saying that you come for code and stay for the community, and I think that is very true for Drupal. Now, as we know where it started, and as we know that currently I'm with the Drupal Association, I would like to take you on a little journey on what is happening, what we are working on, and to share with you some news. And let us start with the Drupal CMS, also known as Starshot. So, since latest event in Barcelona, when Dries dedicated quite a bit of time to the demo of the new functionality that will be available through Drupal CMS, we, surprisingly enough, did not stop working, and we were working on quite a few tracks. And the most recent update that I got just last week, and I want to share with you, will be about these couple of tracks. So, when it comes to data privacy and compliance, the team is at the point where they collected different modules, different features basically that are available currently at Drupal.org, and they are trying to put together the optimal tool that will be compliant, that will bring compliancy wherever you use the Starshot website. Doesn't matter if that's Europe, or it's US, or it's Asia, or Africa, or Australia. So currently, the goal is to finish up the base recipe in order to include it for the release candidate, which we are looking forward to presenting in about a month. Yes. So a little bit spoiler. So we are planning to have the release candidate by DrupalCamp Singapore, which is ambitious, but we are still on track. Then trial experience for Drupal. You have seen basically a lot of that in the Dries note. We still are facing some of the issues, in particular with Safari. It doesn't want to work with Safari very well. So we are trying to fight against the machine, so to say, and to make sure that trial experience is available in all the browsers. Then when it comes to the SEO recipe, we are awaiting for the final content types to be ready in order to apply those functionalities of the SEO, to the content types that are to be finished. Then accessibility tools, we are also making quite some progress over there, and current recipe it can do as much as it can at the moment, so we are waiting for the improvements to the page preview and other accessibility tools in order to make necessary changes and also be ready for the release candidate. And while we are working on the things that will be included in the first version of Drupal CMS, we are thinking ahead, meaning that we are about to announce new tracks very soon that will not be included in the first version, but in the 1.1 version, they will be present. So that being said, obviously, after release on the 15th of January, we are not planning to stop. We're planning to add new cool stuff to Drupal CMS that hopefully you will all enjoy and will be fancy to contribute to, hopefully as well. Now, let's take a look at the next slide. And that's another thing that I'm kind of knee-deep in is Adopt a Document. That's the initiative that we announced in Barcelona as well during the DrupalCon. And what it is about. Adopt a Document is part of the bigger thing, which is reinvigoration of the documentation at Drupal.org. So we decided to start with the user guide for Drupal CMS, as that's something that you cannot really launch project or product without. If you do not provide the users with the clear to follow instructions how to use your product, well, obviously we are trying to build it intuitive enough. However, if you have questions, you should be able to have the place which will be giving you the answers. So we are starting there, but the big thing is that we want to review the Drupal.org documentation in general. Because, as I say, being with the community for many years, I know that it has been a pain point for many and for long. So what does it mean? What we want to do exactly? Obviously, we want to review the documentation that currently exists on Drupal.org. We want to archive what needs to be archived. We want to review and rewrite what needs adjustment, and obviously create the documentation where it's lacking. For that, obviously, we need the person that will be leading this process and actively working with the community, because we will need your expertise in order to make this happen. Because you all contribute to some of the modules, many of you contribute to the core functionalities and so on and so forth. And we want to make sure that community is involved in the process of revigorating the documentation of Drupal.org. And another thing that we have in mind is to not only make the documentation as in, text updated, but we also want to get it to the doc as a code standard, so it will be easier to maintain it in the future. So that's basically 3 goals that this initiative, big initiative of the documentation project has as objectives. Then what does the Adopt a Document do? So that, as I told you, is the first step, first phase of this process, which allows us, A, create user guide, but part of the money that will be gathered as a result of this initiative will be set aside to hire the documentation lead person. So in that way, by adopting a document, which is one section or multiple sections of the Drupal CMS documentation, the company or the individual, for that matter, can make sure that not only they will be creating nice user guide for Drupal CMS, but they will be helping to ensure that there is future of the initiative as a whole. And if you want to know more or get involved with Adopt a Document, you can talk to me and I will give you all the necessary details. Then, another thing that I'm personally very excited about, and as I told you, it's very new. It has been started at DrupalCon Barcelona, when one of the community members was having the presentation. It was Hilmar. You can know him as Drupal Viking. And he was talking about the course at the Reykjavik University that he is teaching. It's about open source, and it's about Drupal. And as a result of that session, the idea was born that, okay, why don't we do something with it, something bigger? Why do we use it only one university? If, as a matter of fact, we can open source it, adjust it, put some more minds into it, and make sure that it's available for anyone, any local association, and any other university that wants to get involved. We've been struggling for quite a while now with lack of new people joining Drupal, and that's why, like per se, I'm very happy to be here today in the Edinburgh University, you know, because I think that's exactly the way we should pursue in order to get students involved and to bridge this gap that we are kind of starting to have, where we have a lot of people that are supporting Drupal, but we do not have a lot of students that are involved, because at some point, PHP and Drupal as well started to be considered not cool, right? So we want to make Drupal cool again. And speaking of the Open University, we, as I say, we got great bases provided by Hilma, and we really want to showcase to the new generation, younger generation, great opportunities that open source can actually provide, and Drupal being part of this course. So the goals are, so far, to provide the learning course that can be easily reused by local associations, local universities, and so on and so forth. Get first graduates, actually, to attend DrupalCon Vienna already in next year. So although this idea been out for barely a month, we're trying to not to stall on it, but to move forward as fast as we can in order to make sure that we are getting the results, the sooner the better. And, of course, the other goal is to involve local companies that will be working and giving opportunities for the students who graduated that course to get the internship and get the practical skills that will basically form the future of their profession. And honestly, personally, I'm very happy to be part of this initiative, because over last years, not only I've been thinking, as many of you did and do, I'm sure, about how we can involve more youth, but as well, to me, it opens another opportunity. Not only universities can use it. It can be used by NGOs, for instance, and we can bring the knowledge to the regions and to the areas that are struggling of poverty. We can work with NGOs that are active in Africa, let's say, or poor regions of India, or other Asian countries. And those courses can become a real life changer to the people and to the young people especially, who need it the most. And last but not the least, DA expanding presence in Europe, right? That's something that I know has been yet another pain point for quite a while now. And I'm happy to say that the things are changing. And in particular, we're trying to expand and hire more people here in Europe when the openings appear. And as well, there are quite some plans in terms of the presence at the conferences for 2025. So you can see like the list that it's not finalized, but you can see like quite a few places that are on the list that are in Europe. So we are developers in Berlin, for instance, or where did I have? DigiGo Expo in London. We've got Dublin somewhere. I'm sure there was Dublin somewhere. Yeah. So also we are thinking currently about adding to that list the conference, open source conference that will be happening in February already in Belgium. And so far we identified quite a few events that we want to be, as in Drupal Association, be present at, and we would be happy to see you guys there as well, and we will find the ways to perhaps like have some joint session in order to not only to promote open source and Drupal, but also to have a showcases provided by Drupal certified partners. And in that way, people will see not only like, the theory about open source and theory about Drupal, but they will see as well what you can achieve by using these tools and what cool projects you can create using it. So with that, I would like to ask you to, if you know some local conferences that you think would be a good addition to this list, please do reach out to me, and I will make sure to get this information passed to our marketing team, reviewed, and we will do our best, as much as we can, to make things happen. And with that, I think that's pretty much it, and I'm ready for your questions. Christoph.
So when you say participate in events, do you
Yes.
like have a booth there on the events? Or?
So there is like a couple of options that we are considering. So first is having a booth, of course. Another one is actually being there with the presentation. That can be either by the Drupal Association or, better yet, as I mentioned, joint sessions with Drupal certified partners, where we will be promoting Drupal and promoting actually their projects that being created, being built based on Drupal. Yeah, I think that's actually like two options that are considered and still yet to be assigned to different conferences that we use. And give me just 1 second. I think that we have here, like, okay, so as you can see, like speaking and the partnerships are available, and obviously like local associations, we will be partnering with those in order to get involved. Right, please.
How related to the idea of Open University, the name, are you? Because in the UK, obviously, we already have the Open University.
Yeah, I know, and that's something that I pointed out during still DrupalCon Barcelona. I think we will be working on the name of the project, but it was just, we just wanted to keep it rolling. So once we have more materials, I think there will be some sort of brainstorming for the naming as well. I think that would be a good idea to get the input from the community and outside the community, as a matter of fact, what will work the best. But yeah, the working name is Open University, and as I say, we are at the very early stages. That's the fact. As a matter of fact, I will be we will be having a meeting next week in order to start working on the roadmap, because there is a lot of brilliant ideas, but as we all know, better done than perfect, and we cannot do everything at once, sadly enough. But yeah, we are trying to prioritize where do we start. So obviously that will be adding some more information, because like we have quite a few courses. So if we're talking about Hilmar's course, it's 3 weeks of very intense learning. It's full-time. It's not like only one course that you have among other subjects during your day. You just, as he himself says, like, I'm force-feeding my students with all the information about Drupal, which is a good approach sometimes. But maybe we want something a little bit more gentle. And one of the things that we want to add to this course is actually the chapter about Drupal CMS, because basically it drops the threshold of entrance significantly. So even if you do not have any technical background, you already can learn about Drupal, and it looks pretty cool, so it's easy, it's intuitive, and so on. And obviously, another subject that we will be concentrating on is then the internship opportunities. That being said, by the way, it's the Open university is an open initiative. So there is already a project on Drupal.org, which is called, surprisingly, Open University, that you can join. And we have meetings happening every 2 weeks. The last one was today at 9 a.m. local time. So the next one will be in 2 weeks. And if you want to join us, if you have the feeling that you want to contribute to the cause, please do so. And there is obviously the Slack channel on the Drupal Slack. Sure, Paul?
Are you aware of Happy Pixels, who did a training camp for Drupal people in the UK? They might already have a syllabus which could also inform.
That's actually great, because as a matter of fact, like, we are at the stage of the research where we are trying to get together as many courses, like, 3 weeks, 2 days, 1 week, whatever, and find like kind of the balance in between that will allow perhaps like maybe there will be different levels of the expertise. And by the way, it will be, the initiative has full support from the Drupal Association, so we will be providing the certification for the graduates of the course, or courses for that matter. And yeah. Yeah, that would be great, thank you.
Mm-hmm. Used to run satellite training sessions where they gave you access to all the videos, and I think we actually ran it at some DrupalCamp Scotland previously. But
that's great.
the builder module itself has closed down, but they've opened up access to all their videos. They're all Drupal 8 videos, I think, but they can be certainly updated. Yeah.
Honestly, if you can pass through the information, I would be most, yeah, it would be great. Sorry, I saw another hand.
Like yourself, I've been in Drupal for a long time, and I learned from watching all the DrupalCamp videos. But then that stopped when they closed it off, and now you have to go and buy a package to see them. So I just wondered if that's something they would consider opening up again to bring in some more of the youngsters into the thing. So as far as I'm aware, PHP and Drupal have always been fairly not interesting to people. But what I found interesting was all the different things that they were doing in Drupal as opposed to just doing a course, seeing what people were actually doing in real life. So I think that would be a good thing to do.
So that's a very good comment, and as a matter of fact, like what is happening currently in Reykjavik and what we hope to replicate in other universities that will hopefully soon enough join the initiative, is that after you're passing like through the theoretical course, you have the project. So the students for another half a year are actually working on the project, and they are getting like basically the technical skills. They are contributing to modules, and when they are through with the whole course, which is 1 semester, they already have some of the commits on Drupal.org, which is obviously a good start when you want to continue pursuing your path.
Yeah, so I wasn't, maybe I didn't make it clear. I was saying, the DrupalCon events.
Okay,
so
sorry.
Session videos from there used to be published for free online.
Mm-hmm.
There is a part where you have to like,
They still are.
They just come out a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Well, all I've seen is the Dries note and
Barcelona, I don't know, for reviews.
oh, they're actually a whole
They
bunch
will
of
come out, yeah.
Yeah.
If you were at attendance, I've seen them all. Not all of them.
I haven't seen them for years, so I don't think subscribe.
No, we're normally trying to release the sessions within a week after the event, like all the sessions, as a matter of fact. So.
All channels then after it, because last time I looked it was about 1 or 2 or something. So.
Yeah. All right. Any more questions? Okay. In that case, thank you very much for having me today.